In the Pitti Palace, or the Palazzo dei Pitti in Florence, Italy, there are two paintings hanging side by side. One of those paintings is a picture of a sea that is raging in a storm. The waves are high, the lightning flashing across the sky. The sky is so dark. In the water, there was painted a face, a human face, and it depicted agony and distress. On the other side, there's another picture of the same raging storm, dark, lightning flashing, waves crashing, but rising up out of that water is a rock. And within that rock, there's a little cleft. And in that cleft, there's some greenery, there's flowers, and there's a little nest with a mother bird sitting on it, not disturbed whatsoever by all the outside things that are going on. And you know, this is a picture of our God and how He takes His hands and cares for us in our distress, in our agony, when things are not going the way we think they should. God is there, and He's caring for us. Jesus promised this many, many times in the Bible. And one of those places is when He is preparing His disciples for His leaving, for His death and burial. And that's found in John chapter 16, verses 19 through 22. Jesus knew that they wanted to ask Him, so He said to them, "Is this what you're asking yourselves? What I meant by saying, 'A little while and you will see me no more'? And again, 'A little while and you will see me'? Truly, truly, I say to you, you will weep and lament, but the world will rejoice. You will be sorrowful, but your sorrow will turn into joy. When a woman is giving birth, she has sorrow because her hour has come. But when she delivered the baby, she no longer remembers the anguish for the joy that a human being has been born into the world. So also you have sorrow now, but I will see you again, and your hearts will rejoice, and no one will take your joy or my joy from you." And then down a little further in verse 33, He says, "And these things I have said to you, that in me you may have peace. And in the world you will have tribulation, but take heart, for I have overcome the world." You know, there's not a human being alive on earth today that hasn't gone through some kind of troubles, some kind of situations that were not very good, distress. You know, times of difficulties arrive unexpectedly, and they remain indefinitely, and the sorrowful memories they produce take root in our minds. You know, it's no wonder then why Jesus promised in John chapter 16:33 that in this world you will have trouble, but take heart, I have overcome the world. You know, this following Jesus is very difficult, and there will be opposition. Our lives are not going to be smooth and easy all the way through. We can expect trouble. We can expect situations that give us difficulties. Yet, the reality of Christ's victory over sin and death, because of His own death and resurrection, provides peace and courage in the midst of that opposition. An appropriate way to respond to these words of Jesus is actually found in Proverbs 13:12. It says, "Hope deferred makes the heart sick, but a longing fulfilled is the tree of life." Could it be that troubles and trials make our hearts sick because we're placing our hope in that which really doesn't satisfy? You know, maybe a job, maybe a relationship, maybe a position. But Jesus calls us not to place our hope in temporal or uncertain things, but to place our hope in his victory over sin and death on the cross of Calvary. As one commentator said, it is the victory of God that the Christian celebrates, knowing that all enemies, past, present, and future, have already been defeated, even death itself. You know, that's why Jesus tells us to store up for ourselves treasures in heaven where moths and vermin do not destroy, where thieves do not break in and steal. For where your heart is, or where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. If your treasure and hope is not in Jesus Christ, then the encouragement that he gives in John 16:33 to take heart will mean very little to you. But if your hope is in Jesus, then rest assured that no trouble, no trial in this life will take that hope away from you. It is also important to know that true and lasting courage must be based in an assurance, not in ourselves, but in Christ. Whenever Jesus uttered the phrase, "take heart," or "be of good courage," he always backed it up with assurance regarding his own work. Therefore, we are called to take heart, not in our own abilities or our own willpower, but in the finished work of Jesus Christ. What do you hope in? I pray your hope is in Jesus Christ, for he is the overcomer, and we are never alone. My prayer is that you take this and realize that Jesus is the hope of your life.